All right, guys. Over the next 4 months, I'm going to be making a lot of videos about this Seattle Seahawks team, the 2018 Seattle Seahawks, because, they're going to be playing in games every week almost. They're going to be testing themselves against some good competition. They're going to have some guys that we don't really know what they are. And we're going to be learning a lot about the future of this team. So there are going to be a lot of videos about those guys, but this video is not going to be about this team. This video is just going to be all about the team that we just had. And I've wanted to make this video because there's a lot of negativity out there right now about this team in the fan base and even with some of the players and former players. The timing of this is kind of interesting because I'd planned to make this video for a few weeks now, but this morning, Sports Illustrated released an article. You can go read it if you want to. I haven't read the whole thing, but I know what's in it about all the things that happened that led to this Seattle Seahawks team not becoming a era-defining dynasty. All the things that kept us from being a team that would go and win 3 or 4 Super Bowls. So you can go read it if you want to. I mean, a lot of it's probably true. It's all at least believable. And that kind of stuff can't be forgotten, but I want to take this video to honestly and earnestly say thank you to the 2012 to 2017 Seattle Seahawks. I mean, that was, to me, a pretty defined era of Seahawks football that clearly started when we drafted guys like Wilson and Wagner, and to me, it clearly ended last season. Now, some of the players are still here. Wilson, Baldwin, Wagner, Earl Thomas for the time being. So it's not completely over. I mean, you still have the coach, you still have the general manager, you still have the quarterback, you still have the superstars on a couple of the superstars on defense, but I kind of have to segment things at this offseason when we said goodbye to so many important players on that team. And I want to honestly say thank you to those Seahawks teams, those 6 seasons of Seahawks football that produced 8 playoff wins, 5 playoff appearances, and 2 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl victory. Because, last year I was a mad Seahawks fan, and I think a lot of Seahawks fans were with me on that one. We didn't have a good season, and I expected greatness. I expected to win 13 or 14 games. We couldn't even make the playoffs. And to me, that era, that Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era of Seahawks football came to an end in Week 15 when we lost a home game to the Los Angeles Rams, who we had beaten on the road earlier that year in the biggest game of the year by 5 touchdowns. And then, if there was any doubt after that, 2 weeks later, we come out in Week 17, play a home game against Arizona's backups, and lose. So, you can say whatever you want about how we still have some of these players, and we do, but I cannot look at that Seahawk team the same way when, for years and years the mantra was win forever, always compete. And then to see them just completely shit themselves in 2 of the most important games of the year at home against teams that I know they can beat. Era over. So we can rebuild around some of the pieces we still have. Absolutely. We could do it very quickly, but I consider it to be a different team. So there's negativity about what the team didn't do, because when you look at the roster they had in 2013, it was deep, it was stacked. We could do everything. We had great players on offense, defense, special teams. We looked like we could, win several Super Bowls in a row, and we only won the one, and we lost in the Super Bowl the next year. We went to the playoffs a couple times after that. Things really fell off next year. Now everyone's trying to break down, like, why did this happen? Why did this team let down so much? And the players who resented Russell Wilson, the coaches who made bad decisions, the general manager who brought in the wrong players. They all have a piece in that, but I'm not going to talk about that here because that team, that 2012 to 2017 Seahawks team, got into orbit, by which I mean they won a Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal that every team should have for themselves. Like I said in my video yesterday, okay? Now there are teams out there like probably the Bengals and the Browns and a few other teams like that their expectations are lower, but even those teams, they understand that one day eventually they're going to put together a Super Bowl roster and they're going to hope that they win it all. And they're the only team in Seahawks history that won a Super Bowl, so I want to express my gratitude to them for doing that, even if we feel like we should have gotten more, because I want you to think about it like this. Think about other football teams you've seen. I've been watching football now for about 22 years. I started in 1996, and I have seen a lot of teams build very strong, very capable Super Bowl caliber rosters. And they just don't get there. They don't get into orbit. They get off the launching pad, they get in the air, and then it just blows up before they actually get up into orbit. Think about 2007. Think about the year 2007. The Dallas Cowboys just got Tony Romo at quarterback. He had a good season when he took over for Drew Bledsoe. If you went back in time to the off season right before the 2007 season, and you went up to Cowboys fans and you said Tony Romo is going to break every quarterback record for the Dallas Cowboys franchise. He's going to break the yardage record, the touchdown record. He's going to do all that. He's going to start for 9 years, and the Cowboys are going to miss the playoffs in 6 of those seasons, or 5 or 6. They're going to win 2 playoff games, and they're never even going to play for an NFC title game. They wouldn't even be able to compute that. They would be like, how can we have a franchise quarterback playing at a high level for 9 years and never even make a playoff run? It happened. The McNabb Eagles, another great example from my lifetime. They went to the NFC Championship game 5 times with McNabb and Andy Reid and Brian Dawkins and I guess Brian Westbrook in there as well. And they never got into orbit. The Tomlinson Chargers, the LaDainian Tomlinson Chargers, the Rivers Chargers, both those teams, I think they played the AFC title game once. No Super Bowls. The Steve McNair Titans. Steve McNair was a co-MVP one year, and that team played in 1 Super Bowl. They lost, never got back. The Mark Brunell Jaguars. People forget that team. They played in a couple AFC title games, I think. They went 14-2 one of those years, and they didn't win. The Matt Stafford, Calvin Johnson Lions. Matthew Stafford might break every NFL passing record that there is by the time he retires. He hasn't even won a playoff game. The Randy Moss Vikings never even made the Super Bowl. The Adrian Peterson Vikings never made the Super Bowl. The Michael Vick Falcons made 1 NFC title game. The Matt Ryan Falcons. I saw Matt Ryan look washed up last night. You think that, the Falcons fans have a ton of optimism that Ryan is going to be the guy who gets them to actually winning a Super Bowl, even though he's been a top-flight quarterback for a decade. The Larry Fitzgerald Cardinals had 3 or 4 really good chances to go win a Super Bowl, didn't get it done, and now, he's about to retire, and, his team is bad. The Jim Harbaugh 49ers made the NFC title game 3 years in a row. They made 1 Super Bowl, didn't win it. Now it's completely over. All the players are gone. Even the Jay Cutler Bears, guys. I mean, Jay Cutler, early in his Bears tenure, he led them to the NFC title game. He got hurt. They lost. A couple years later, they gave him all that money. I don't know if they ever made the playoffs again after that. In fact, I don't think they did. So look at all these teams that assembled good talent, because, I'm defining these teams and their eras by 1 or 2 players, but they put together playoff Super Bowl caliber rosters around these guys. The Carson Palmer, Andy Dalton Bengals even. They put tremendous offensive talent around Carson Palmer. They put tremendous defensive talent around Andy Dalton. Both guys had really good rosters around them. They haven't won a playoff game yet. And you can look around the league right now and you can see other teams that are slowly heading in the direction of, we had all these great players, we had all this talent, we had a couple of windows to go win a Super Bowl and we didn't even get close. Like, the Matt Ryan thing is a great example, but you've also got like, um, I would start to wonder about the Cam Newton Panthers. Or is Cam Newton ever going to break through and win the Super Bowl? Seems like he's already had his best chance. They're the Great Wall of Dallas Cowboys. They assembled the best offensive line in football. They've gotten one playoff win out of it. It might already be over. Travis Frederick, who knows if he plays football again? So all these teams over the years that I've been watching football, I've seen them assemble a ton of talent, and they don't even get close to orbit. Some teams don't even get off the launching pad. I mean, Jameis Winston, if he doesn't have a good year this year, Tampa Bay's probably going to give up on him. And that was a quarterback that people thought you were going to be able to build your franchise around for over a decade. So what I'm trying to say is, every couple years, you can come up with a list of teams that just couldn't get it done, that assembled a lot of talent, and, they just, teased their fans with that potential, but they never even got close. Most of the teams I just listed never even played in the Super Bowl. So you want to say that we only won one? I say at least we won one. So I can't hate. I mean, there's nothing I can really say about those guys. Yes, I wanted more. All fans want more. Patriots fans want more. They won 5. They're mad they didn't get 6 last year. They think Bill Belichick threw the game, some of them. Colts fans, they had Peyton Manning for 14 years or whatever. They've won 1 Super Bowl. You don't think they wanted more? But sometimes that's all you can get. Drew Brees has only got 1. Aaron Rodgers has only got 1. Etc. The examples go on and on. There are very few teams that actually double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip. And then there are a ton of examples from before my time. The Jim Kelly Bills, the Dan Marino Dolphins, all these teams that just, you would have expected them to win a Super Bowl at some point, and they just didn't do it. Some of them got very close. Some of them just never even got close. So for us to be able to complain about the fact that this team only won 1 Super Bowl is actually a pretty tremendous position of privilege, because there are a lot of teams out there that can complain about a whole hell of a lot more than that. So to the players, to the coaches, to the front office who were responsible for this team not winning more than 1 Super Bowl, I'm going to take the high road here. It is frustrating. Of course, you always want to win more, but we got into orbit, guys. A lot of teams can't say that. A lot of great players, a lot of great rosters can't say that. So that era of Seahawks football is, in my opinion, pretty much over. And I complained about it last year because I was disappointed in the team. No excuse for them being as bad as they were last year. But I can honestly say that the 2012 to 2017 Seattle Seahawks have forever changed my perspective as a fan of an NFL team. They got me. They got me, a Seahawks fan. A franchise that was, nothing for a very long time before I was born. They got me thinking, okay, when's the next one? 10 years ago, me as a Seahawks fan, I was happy with winning a playoff game every now and then. I was happy with being relevant. I just wanted to win some games and get on to the next season, win some more games. And this run of Seahawks football has me thinking, what can we do to increase our odds of winning another Super Bowl in the next few years? Whatever that is, we need to do that. And that's not a position I ever thought I would be in. So, shout out to those guys. You won 1. A lot of people are going to dissect the reasons why you didn't win more. I am going to, at least for today, sit here and say thank you for the 1. Because they don't come easy, guys. And if you don't believe that, go ask all the teams that I just listed in this video, that many of whom didn't even come close to winning a Super Bowl. Okay. I'm going to come out with some pregame stuff in the next couple days, but Appreciate what you have. Seriously, guys. Peace.